Hi guys and welcome to another review. I'm keeping in the theme of doing some Batman related products in the honour of Adam West, and this is Adam West's Robin. It is of course Burt Ward. As you can see here, you've got the package with the Robin in there. Just put him back in. He was a lot easier to put back in than Batman. Still got the tie up here, I never cut it. And yeah, over there you've got 8-inch retro superhero, collect them all, Batman, Danger Keep Away Series 1. You got it looks cool. You got his breather there. It's pretty generic pose and like a pointing, like when he's making one of those statements like holy molars, Batman, it's a good thing I take good care of my teeth. That was such a funny scene. And up here you've got Robin. Turning this around. It's pretty much the same as Batman's package, except this one is more of a like orangey tomato like red. So yeah, that looks really cool. Series 2, I don't have any of them sadly. I would like to get them though. And yeah, that's the package. Let's take the Boy Wonder out. Once again, it's one of those really cool resealable packages, so there you go. Just slide the bubble out, or the clam, whatever you want to call it. Oops, caught on his feet. There you go. Put that to the side. As well as that, and here we have Robin. Now, I have a few issues with him. Right off the bat, he has, no pun intended, he has a little bit of trouble standing. Oh, he's doing it now. He's just leaning forward in an awkward angle. But yeah. Let's start off with the head as I normally do. It looks pretty good actually. It looks a lot better in person than it does in camera. I'm just looking at it on camera than I'm looking at the actual thing. It looks a lot nicer in person. The eyes have a nice kind of gloss on them. Got wide eye slits just like in the show. The band actually continues all the way around his head, so that's cool. Really nicely sculpted hair. Pretty neutral pose. The lips are painted nicely. The eyes are painted really well as well. And yeah, that looks cool. Yeah, it just doesn't look that good on camera for some reason. I don't know why. It looks a lot nicer in person. Here you've got his the iconic Robin red kind of like t-shirt. I don't know what you want to call it. The R there with the lacing along here, which is actual string. So I'd recommend you be careful. It feels like it might like deteriorate over time. I wish these collars sat down a bit more, But yeah, oh well. You got his utility belt. I always wondered like where he puts his stuff. I mean, I guess you could say he like has his arm doesn't want to go up. The canister thing, you push a button on there and something comes out of the bottom. But yeah, looks cool, I guess. Accurate to that of the show. It's done up on the back here, as you can see. And this is actually the same piece, as you can see. It's not like he's wearing trousers. It's all stitched together, so that's cool. Otherwise all his clothes would be falling apart all the time and it'd just get really frustrating. You've got the green sleeves, which look nice. Muscular arm and the green gloves. I think in like the very first few episodes he didn't have this kind of dark green on his gloves, sorry. He had like a very light green kind of fabric glove, and it wasn't leather-like. And I think they changed it a bit later on, and as you know, when they slide down the bat poles into the bat cave and then they get into the Batmobile, that was a lot of bats in one sentence. They used that same scene throughout the entirety of the show, as they only shot it once for production costs and whatnot. And if you look at Robin, he has like the old style kind of material light green gloves. So yeah, that's just a little interesting fact for you. Something I noticed watching the show anyway. You've got his green gloves, which I've talked about. They have some nice creases on them, as you can see there, to make them look realistic. Got some stitch lines over here, which look cool. All the fingers clasped, they look nice. Same deal with Batman, they come off a bit too easy. But they stay on better than Batman's. You've got his green trunks, once again stitched. I really like the way they've done the outfits for the most part. However, I'm not too fond of his tights. They don't limit articulation or anything like that, and they do come across as tights. However, they're a bit too shiny for my liking. Actually, you know what? On camera they look far too shiny, but in person they look a hell of a lot nicer. But yeah, actually looking at it now, I don't know what it was when I first got it. It just looked, I didn't like it as much, but now it looks kind of fine. But yeah, you got your trademark elf shoes. Oh, and this is something I didn't like. I did a little customization here. The shoes do come off, and as you can see here, the trousers were essentially, if I just move this like that, and they'd slide up all the time. So what I did is I just cut a little hole in them, I pegged them through here so they held nicely, and they gave the appearance of being a lot tighter as well, as they were kind of baggy when I first got it. I didn't like that, and now because I've cut that hole there, I can just peg it in. There we go. And yeah, they don't look baggy at all. It looks really cool now. This is a soft rubber. This cape, same deal as Batman. It is removable. I can't really remember him removing it in the show. I'm just trying to remember it. Let's see if I can do it. This one's a lot harder than Batman's. It's a much smaller, like, clasp. Hang on. Have I got it? Have I got it? Oh, I've got it. And this is also a separate piece, which I think works out better for the figure, the collar being separate, as it would just be too much to like kind of deal with to try and get it all posed nicely. At least you can give a decent look with this, you can kind of just force it down. But yeah, it does come off. Different material on the inside, it's more of a matted, like kind of yellow fabric, and then on the other side, gloss mania, so yeah, that's cool. God knows I'm going to put this back on. I struggled getting it off. Oh, I've done it, never mind. Yeah, I like to fold the cape back. But before I do that, let's out of focus, I'll just show you how much cape he has. He has a fair amount of cape, as you can see here. Decent amount. Robin never really has that much cape anyway, so I'm not expecting a shed load of cape on him, so that's cool. Let's just stand him up here, shall we? I'll put him a little bit further back, pose him up a bit. Come on, Robin. There we go. Let's stand you next to the Caped Crusader himself. Well, the Caped Crusaders now, I should say. Right away, I have one issue, and that is that they're the exact same height. That's quite frustrating, as they only have one body mold for these figures. That's how Mego operated. That's how Diamond Select operate. They just use one body mold, and that's pretty much it. Well, for males, and then here they've got their female one as well. But it's very frustrating, especially since he's shorter. So what I like to do is like bend him at the knees like that, and like kind of put him in a action pose, and it looks a lot nicer on my retro shelf, my retro action figure area. I can't do it now. It's actually kind of difficult to get it done, but yeah, it'll be a lot easier off camera. Robin, for his articulation, has a swivel in the head, ball hinge in the shoulder, once again with that elastic band style articulation, connecting this arm to this leg, this arm to this leg. So yep, single hinge in the elbow, which has more than 90 degrees, so that's pretty good. Swivel in the glove. Oh, you've also got a slit there, that's cool. You've got the really nice kind of abdomen articulation. You can pivot to the side, you can look up, look down a fair bit, you can kick out, you can come to the side a bit, bend at the knee, single jointed, and a swivel, as well as a hinge, which you can actually use in these feet. As they're just shoes really, they're not boots, so you can do it. Dust inside there, and yeah, it's really cool. It's a really nice figure. I'm just a big fan of the retro style. Some people may not like cloth in their action figures. I quite like this style. I mean, even if you don't like cloth on action figures, surely you can appreciate Mego style for what they are. They're essentially the granddad of well, no, not even the fairy godmother of the modern day action figure almost. I know it doesn't really sound like it's much of a compliment, but yeah, I do like them quite a bit. Let's just try and get him in that pose that I like to have him in on the shelf. Will you do it? I think I lean him forward a bit, and then I use the ab crunch to kind of throw his weight back, so he balances. There we go, I've done it. So now that I've done that, let's kind of bring him back. Will he stand? Yep. That man. No, I didn't really do that good of a job. I normally bend his knees more, and he's out there. Will he stand? Will he stand? Will he stand? Oh, he's standing. That's cool. So yeah, now he looks a fair bit shorter, and yeah, I'll probably do a much better job when I put these guys back on the shelf. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Take care.